Happened at that farm near Sackets Harbor could happen more often. That's according to a Syracuse University professor who we spoke to today. That professor saying the 7 people called illegal aliens by the feds were part of a collateral arrest. 7 News reporter Chad Charette has more.
These kids who, Wednesday night went to sleep after finishing their homework and eating dinner, woke up to being awoken by ICE out of their bed and snatched from their home, arrested, and put into jail.
Murad Awada, president of the New York Immigration Coalition, learned that after speaking with the family that was taken from the North Harbor dairy farm in the town of Hounsfield Thursday. He says the mother and 3 kids are now at an ICE detention facility in Texas. Awada says they weren't U.S. citizens, but they were navigating the system to become legal.
You often hear critics saying, well, people should do it, quote unquote, the right way. They were doing it the right way. They were following the process. They were going to court, and they were doing what they were told to do.
Austin Kocher, a professor and researcher of politics and policies at Syracuse University, believes what happened on the farm was what's called a collateral arrest, after federal agents went to the farm looking for a South African man who allegedly distributed child pornography and found 7 others, who the feds call illegal aliens. Kocher thinks collateral arrests could become more common due to the Trump administration's mass deportation quotas. The Washington Post reports the administration is targeting at least 1,200 arrests per day.
Let's say a judge does prevent the deportation of this one person, they've got 10 more people that they can go after. So I just think it's in their interest to use collateral arrests as much as possible.
In an interview with 7 News just after the election, Border Czar Tom Homan stated he planned to work with dairy farmers in regards to granting migrant workers permission to stay.
I've worked very hard to make dairy farmers, even though it's not seasonal, it's a 24/7 job, to make them part of this program.
As far as the legality of deporting migrants going through the proper channels, Kocher says he's not sure if the law even matters.
The administration has shown that it's not particularly deferential to the judicial branch and seems like it would like to undermine the judicial branch's independent authority.
A peaceful rally in support of the family will be held in Sackets Harbor this Saturday, with attendees marching in front of the home of Border Czar Tom Homan, urging the administration to release the family. Chad Charette, 7 News.
And we'll mention the farm property is owned by the Robbins family. Ron Robbins not having comment for us tonight.